like kind of a general call for content to vendors, and I did respond, but I don't think that I don't think I never got follow up on that. So maybe it's some
Oh,
future.
didn't you?
No, but I already have Creech and other things
Yeah.
in PoSer, so it's not like any kind of watermark for me. But those Chaos Warriors that I had, which are PoSer characters, I mean, to be frank, they're not very good. They're not nearly as good as Creech, but I offered those up, and at some point, hopefully, those will be included in there. Because you know how it is. You just want to see it like for posterity, and there's going to be folks
Oh,
that
yeah.
come along that a basic figure, is useful
Yeah.
for.
Yeah. Of
So
course it is.
yeah, so my hope is that they'll at some point accept those, but they've processed out of my store at Rented Rusty. I think that was kind of the holdup. They didn't want to dig for it or whatever, even though I provided links and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I've got high hopes for PoSer once again, and actually I'm contemplating developing for it.
Really.
Although my
Uh,
guy that I work with the most is 100% against that. But
is that our friend Les?
yes, yes, yes. But in my case, I don't know. I just kind of think that I don't think it's as cut and dry as a poser's not going to be developed anymore. Now I think there's definitely back to the potential that it could see a new render engine someday, and I really do truly feel like if it ever gets iRay, it can be competitive again, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
But they haven't talked about that yet. But that doesn't mean
No.
it won't happen. I understand. I mean, my feeling is right now it's about kind of like rebranding, getting a little bit of money for their investment, and I
Yeah.
can certainly understand that without having to put hundreds of thousands of dollars in development. I
Yeah.
understand that, but maybe down the road we could potentially expect significant upgrades. I mean, there were obstacles to Dash Studio going as far as it did, and those obstacles were overcome.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a great time to be a PoSer fan for sure.
Well, I'm looking forward to it because I do see light at the end of the tunnel, and you know, I just love working with PoSer, and I just
Oh,
can't, you know,
likewise. Up until a point, I went, my God, it's so much more intuitive than Dash Studio. There's
yeah,
less buttons to push. Just
less
to
menus, yeah,
Yeah, just to me as a user who is
friendly,
maybe not a power user, I just felt like it was more user friendly,
yeah,
and that excited me back when I was a new user,
yeah,
and then eventually I realized that it came down to how the images looked. Frankly, like that render engine to me is not as beautiful as the current
yeah.
iRay. So
I,
that was kind of the deal breaker for me. Ultimately, I still didn't want to do it. I still didn't. I had to make myself. I didn't want to do it.
yeah.
I didn't want to do it.
Well, I think from your point of view, and you are handling, and lots of your friends and stuff are handling still images. Now, this is where you're looking for photo quality, etc., etc. Now then, I must tell you this, and you must always remember this. What I do,
You're not looking for photo quality.
I am not exactly. I
Yeah.
am not looking for photo quality because it is an animation. It's a puppet animation. I am not looking for realism, and it would be an insult for me to be using it. Oh, it's fine. Of course, I want the best quality. If some comes along in the future and gives us great renders, fine. That's a bonus. But in reality, I am not concerned. I'm more concerned with the use of the program to allow me to do my silly little animations.
Yeah. Well, no animation is silly. It's like it's just an expression. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of your Creech your epic Creech films. That's like Lord of the Rings to me, man.
I, I've got to say, I was trying to think of something different to do this time round, and but I kept going back to Creech, and I miss him after doing so much and spending so much time with him. We've become almost good
I miss
friends.
him. I miss him too. Yeah, yeah, I miss him too. I feel like the Creech of PoSer, which of course is the original,
Yeah,
it's a lot more what's the word prolific
yeah,
than the modern day Creech. There's more renders of that one out there, ironically,
yeah,
and early on the folks at Smith Micro used it in some of the animation tutorials because just to remind you, there was a new shape a new rigging shape that was released, a triangular rigging shape that was released in that whatever particular version of PoSer that there was when Creech came out, and I believe to this date that is the only figure rendered with those shapes. So it was perfect for their demonstration, and he just
Yeah.
kept going on. I love how it's got this blah blah blah, And of course, this is all technical jargon that doesn't really matter to me, but yeah, it's so it had its place in history, and that's kind of cool. And the one that I made for Genesis 3, well, rather commissioned Les to make. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know that it is as prolific. I enjoy it, but I don't
Yeah.
know that like in the long run, if as many people will know about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Understood. Yeah. But I mean, I must do. I mean, so I'm back onto the next version of Creech. Heaven forbid us. But
it's
I
it,
enjoy working
well,
with it.
actually,
It to me,
you're a big part of how Creech has become prolific for sure. Um, your animations are out there. Where else can you
yeah.
see a poser figure battling a great white shark?
Yeah. And don't forget, his co-pilot is a fellow named Brent.
That
Now
horrible
you mustn't
that
forget that.
horrible was. Let me remind me which character was that? Michael Four? I can't even remember which figure that was made
It
for.
was it was Michael Four, and he'd done Les. I think it was. I'm assuming it was Les. Was it? Who done
Yeah,
the?
yeah, yeah. I believe
Yeah.
Les
Right. Yeah.
actually, I had one other guy do a head for me, and vAdmin was his username. He's still around. He's a
Yeah.
Russian chap, but
Yeah.
but it was just a head shape. I had to import it, and it was never very packaged up or anything. I don't know if I was ever even able to share it, to be honest. But
Yeah. But
uh,
Les's job was. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, just using a slide edit, it can go straight from the M4 right to you.
yeah, Les is pretty much
It's
Les is
absolutely incredible. I mean,
he's
to be
pretty
honest with
much
you,
pretty much the
yeah,
man.
yeah. I was doing quite with you in there in the story and stuff, and then suddenly I realised, hang on, it's just looking like M4. And what I'd done, yeah, you know what I'm going to say.
Mhm.
And I hadn't realised there was a little slide there to bring you back.
Hilarious, hilarious.
Yeah, and it was because I say, hang on, that just looks like an M4. That doesn't look like Brent.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's just good fun, man. That's why I love Poser, and that's why I care
Me
that
too.
I mean, honestly, I made a little money, and I was a nobody at Renderosity as far as a merchant, which I basically still am,
Yeah,
but I'm a nobody that's in the top 50.
yeah. Well,
so
there you
so
go then.
and so I make a little, not much, but I make a little income from it,
Yeah.
enough to basically I now make more than I spend, and that's
Well,
cool. That's really all I was going for. As I didn't want to break the bank, and I wanted to
no.
be able to kind of keep pace with the technology, and
Yeah.
make a little more at it than I spend. Really was kind of my goal, and I achieved
Well,
that goal. So
it's
that's
great. But if you can
wonderful.
break even, you're lucky.
Indeed, indeed. Most folks don't, and
No.
anytime that comes up, people love to say, "Well, this is a business." I mean, I've been told that by contacts at the both stores that I
Yes.
sell it. This is a business. In other words, if you don't like it, you can go sell somewhere else, and that's absolutely right. But in my case, money is nice, but it's got to be fun.
It's yeah. It's got to be fun. That's right.
And
And
Poser is still fun.
yeah,
Man,
it
you're
is.
getting me hyped here. I really want to. So, all right. So I purchased two different versions of Poser back in the day. Then I got on the Smith Micro beta team, which basically gave me a free version every time it came out, and
Right.
I would give feedback on the features and
Yeah.
whatnot. I don't know that I could honestly say directly that any of that feedback was ever acted on or used in any way, but
Yeah.
I gave it and I got my free version. Well, now it's been rebranded and apparently my old version won't work anymore. And man, I don't know about buying it again after all these years when I know it's not gonna. But I don't know. There may come an opportunity to do some development for it in exchange for a copy, and if that's
Yeah.
there may
Yeah.
or may
And it's
not there may or may not be some insider information that I can't talk about, but that if I ever get the opportunity to develop for it again, I'm definitely going to consider it. I mean, I think I'd be probably dealing with poses for the new figures or something like that.
Yeah,
Nothing
we
earth shattering.
yeah. Well, we don't know what the future holds, obviously, but I'm optimistic. I mean, last time we spoke, I was saying, oh, I think PoSer's at it and all this carry on, and I was having a look at Daz and stuff like that, and but I kept going back to PoSer, and with this recent change, I don't know. There's something. Perhaps there's a future for it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I hope, and I really do hope there is, because it's been great fun. 2002, I was doing animations with
You
PoSer.
were into PoSer 1 year before me. Isn't that crazy?
Isn't it just?
Yeah.
I was, and the reason why I know that is because I was looking for, as I was, well, on the post, I was looking for some models. And I said, I'm sure I've got, and I've got, like you, thousands of models all over the place. I don't even know what I've got. And I was looking through some of the old files on hard drives, old hard drives, and I thought, my God, 2002, God almighty, that's 17 years ago.
It really, really sneaks up on you, and
It does, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah.
I thought, gee, Christ, bloody hell. It's great, though. I mean, and it was nice to go and look back at some of the stuff. Like the Sin City stuff and all that carry on. It was years ago.
Oh man, imagine that. And I still work with my brother-in-law. He and I both have voice parts on that.
Oh,
That
yeah.
that's I from time to time we'll pull that out and watch it. Actually, I need to do like a stream of that at some point, and we should
Well,
talk about it or whatever. I like to bring back old projects like that. It's a lot of
to
fun.
me, it's yeah. I've been watching some of your stuff with your mates from the horror place.
Oh yeah, yeah, the Mutantville guys.
Yeah, Mutantville guys. Yeah.
Dude,
So
honestly, and not to offend anyone who is probably not listening, but do you follow my friend JT McRoberts?
yeah, well, okay, yeah, not closely, but yes, I always pop in and have a look now and then.
Are you listening to his new YouTube? He's
No.
well, I'm going to point you to it. It's called Indie Film Reviews, but really what it is a culture review. And it is absolutely hilarious. When I end this stream, I'm going to tell you some stuff and I'm going to send you a link. But I'll tell you what, I have
Yeah.
not laughed so hard in a long, long
Oh,
time.
that's
Oh my goodness, he actually, yeah, he's a pretty funny guy, and in the
yeah,
context of the bigger picture, he
yeah,
tries to be, very inclusive and careful with what he says, but he's
yeah,
just, I don't know if he's just gotten fed up. I mean, you hadn't been around America lately, but shit has changed. Let me just
yeah.
say, we are going through a kind of a cultural, I don't know how I would even term it. I don't think it's a great thing. And like
No.
I post a picture of my granddaughter like crying, and I go me. And when they tell me election year's coming up,
Yeah,
I'm just like I don't even want to go through it again. I mean,
yeah,
it's so ridiculous.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
it's like
I could even, I could start on Brexit right now.
well, yeah. I mean, I know
Over
you.
here,
I know you.
it's it's a comedy show. The Parliament. It's an absolute bloody disgrace.
Yeah, it's like I'm like I don't know, it's a film, but there's a quote where somebody comes in and people are just saying stupid shit, and he goes, "Did IQ suddenly drop sharply while I was away?" And that is how I feel about my countrymen and how they choose to express themselves these days.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah,
listen, I'm nobody's genius, okay?
yeah,
You won't be sending me Elon Musk any solutions, but Jesus. I mean, this whole I'm offended, so that it must not be so concept, I just don't understand it. I
I
mean,
don't understand it
if the
either.
aliens are watching, this is getting so
You know,
stupid. They just may nuke us or whatever out of existence just on the principle of we're too
yeah,
stupid to exist. Do you know?
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, but I'll have to be careful in case we offend somebody.
Yeah, don't want
Uh,
to don't want to do
oh, I tell you,
that.
you're not supposed, you're laughing. Oh my God.
I'm gonna dig up but like I said, I don't want to piss people off, but I'm gonna dig up a video for you
Yeah.
of the Democratic Social Convention. Have you seen this?
No, well, I wouldn't really. No, not really.
Jesus, that makes me speak Irish with a Gaelic accent. Jesus, it's it's like it is the most And I don't even want to use the term retarded because that's
No.
that's that's insulting to people with mental disabilities. But it is the most asinine example of just unemployable. You know what? We're going to
Yeah.
talk about this off the stream. I better stop right now.
Okay.
But anyway. So you're getting back to the poser game. I'm excited
Yes.
about this.
Yeah.
I ha-
And
have you have you did you ever let's see, I'm trying to think. So you basically are just animating straight out of Poser and then going into like Carrera, what was it?
no,
Or a Cinema
some
4D?
yes, I use Cinema 4D slightly, and not very often, and because I don't use Cinema 4D enough, I find it difficult now, and it's quite a straightforward program to use. I just don't bother with it because I find that Poser I like to keep it contained if I can, for my own simplicity, because I'm quite stupid, really. And
Well, you know what we say.
so,
You know what we say. This is a
go on.
very United States thing, I think, in the South, but there's a lot of us, and we say, "Keep it simple, stupid."
Yeah,
it's,
exactly.
it's a
That
phrase
says it all.
that we love to say because it is so apropos
Yeah,
of working in
absolutely.
this area.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can get guys that are going from here to there and doing this and doing that. I mean, for some jobs, fine, but for what I do, it is fun. I mean, I'm not an animator. I do this purely for fun and try and make a story out of using Poser. And the only time I'll mention animation with what I do, I always call it a Poser animation. And it's a special type of animation, as far as I'm
It
concerned.
is. It is. It's kind of like stop motion. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not stop motion, but like I always say stop motion animation because I don't draw, right? I don't know if
yeah,
you
I am the same. Yeah.
have you seen any of my little puppet builds? I've built some puppets and done some stop motion recently.
No, I haven't. No.
Oh, remind me, I have to show you this. I
All
actually,
right, fine.
well, I was following this guy, Richard Svensson, and he made these really cool Lovecraft films where he had built all the poser animations himself. I mean, he had built, I'm sorry, all the puppets himself.
Yeah.
And for years, I was talking to him, just trying to pay him to build me a puppet. And
Oh, I
he
see.
he eventually sent one for a friend's project, but I could never get the one I wanted. So eventually, I just decided to build it myself, and
Right.
it actually turned out okay. Hold on one second, I got a phone call popping in here.
Yeah, sure.
Hello. I will be at my office, so just pull around back, and I'll actually drive. If you just want to pull around back and park as close as you can to the building, that'll be cool. All right, see you when you get here. Thanks, bye. So just to let you know, Dave, I'm going to be leaving here shortly
That's okay.
to head out to Charlotte. We're going to rehearse again today.
Oh, right.
We have a performance next week at my graduation to massage therapy school. So yeah, the year and a half of that's a bigger conversation, but wow, that's the last time I let my wife track me into any kind of educational situation because it was an hour and 37 minutes away, 2 nights a week, and then ultimately 4 days a week. They didn't tell
Yeah.
us when we had to do our clinicals, and just whew, I spent a lot of money
Oh,
and
you'll have to tell me
lot,
more
lot,
about
lot of
this.
money and time. Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Well, look, I'll let you get away because obviously you're going to be busy.
Well, actually, I'm good for the next probably 25 minutes. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
That's fine.
we're
That's
good.
fine. That's
So
fine.
so what is the story this time? You have a new creature story
I
to tell.
all I actually, to be honest with you, I haven't got a clue really. All I thought was, now what scenario can we put Creech in?
Let's do
And I was,
sci-fi. Let's do sci-fi because there's so much that we could just borrow. Like
yeah,
there's some really good. Well, like the whole thing of like the intelligent ship called
yeah,
Sarah. Like I like
yeah,
that. That
yeah,
was fun. I just loved it. I mean, I got to get back to that myself. That little comic. But of course now I'm
yeah,
torn. I want to do it all in Dad's studio.
yeah.
So
Of course, yeah, yeah.
that's a difficulty for
Well,
me.
because you're doing that, yes, but you need the images, don't you, for your comics? You need those
Well,
renders.
I can just accomplish so much so fast. Actually, one of the things I was going to mention to you is I just got me an Insta 360, and I can create an HDR with just literally the click of a button, and it's so
Yeah,
much
this
better
is
than
all new stuff to me. This, yeah, yeah.
yeah, because you kind of like I don't think Poser might use a something like an HDR, but it's not quite the same. Um,
No,
I
there
kind of
may
got
be some kind of
Yeah,
plugin, but
I kind of got
I'm.
to. I got to get myself back into. Well, honestly, the last version I installed, now this is not the version that's available now, but it would crash
Mm,
a lot. and I
Would you?
eventually just got frustrated. I was like, you know what?
And it,
I can't develop on two platforms if one of them is constantly crashing. So that was kind of my cop out, more or less.
yeah.
That let me let go of PoSer. Um,
Were you using it for sort of that type of job? You know,
yeah, I hope to kind of get back and be a little more passionate about like sticking with it for a minute, because that's really what it takes with any software. You got to get past. It's
yeah,
just like learning to play guitar. You got to get past those calluses.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. But who knows? I think the future is going to be quite good for it. You know, for
Absolutely.
PoSer.
Now, did you ever move?
But
You were talking about moving last time that I
no,
you didn't.
no,
So
no,
you
I didn't know.
so you got them to renew your situation where you were at then.
Is correct. Yes, I had to go and buy a new one.
Oh my! So
It's a holiday home. Yeah, yeah, it could
you're
be.
still in the same neighborhood then?
Yeah, exactly the same place.
Um, a friend recently showed me this thing on Oculus Rift where you can get on Google Earth. Like literally, I could come to your house in Google Earth and get down like at the street level and look at your house from the front.
It's in, isn't it?
It's
I know.
wild. It is truly wild.
It's wild. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But
It is.
so did you have a chance to check out my record that I sent you?
Yeah,
The
yeah. It was. Yeah, it was excellent.
the Nashville record. You got the final
Yeah, the
mix, I
Nashville
believe.
one. Yeah, and he sent me the
Yeah.
tracks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Cool.
you were going to send me a cover. I just put it on a
You
CD.
know what? I'm gonna do that right now while we're talking.
Okay.
I thought that I did that, but let me do that right now. That way I know it gets done.
Yeah, sure.
Um, yeah, because the sequence is kind of, if you burn them
The
onto a disc, it's
and
kind of important. I put a lot of
you
thought
said the
into.
sequence of the. Yes, that's right. I've left the tracks as you
Let's see.
put them to
So
me.
I called that. Let me just double check here. Don't download
Yeah.
them. It's always asking me to download a new version of iTunes, and I'm like, no, have it just the way
Yeah.
I want it. I don't want a new version of
Oh,
iTunes.
yeah, yeah. You
Uh,
should you should have seen the fun I had with Skype. I haven't used it for years.
oh, I know that's
Oh
true.
my God. Phew.
Here we go. I'm gonna use Snippet, and I'm just gonna snip this. You ever use Snippet? Apparently, the Snippet is
No, no.
being replaced in Windows 10 by a keyboard shortcut that will do
I'm not even.
largely the same thing.
Oh, is it right? Well, I don't even use Windows 10.
What version are you on?
I'm stuck Windows 7.
Jesus again, making me Irish. Jesus, it's not Jesus, it's Jesus.
Jesus.
And
Oh,
Dad only has one D. Nah, it's funny. Um, okay, so I sent it in your Skype window, so you will now see that sequence. So yeah, put it in that sequence, and you're all good. And
right.
actually, I can send you that little art too. Do you use iTunes?
No.
Okay, so it doesn't matter. The icon doesn't matter. But yeah, yeah, long project there. So so I was about to say, I got this
Yeah.
awesome new 360 camera called the Insta One 360. Second day I had it, I scratched one of the lenses. So now every
Oh,
HDR that I take, well, it's because they give you this little tripod that won't stand up properly, and I stood it up and
yeah.
walked away from it on the pavement, fell
And I
right
thought,
over. So now I have to go in and clone that aberration out where I scratched the lens. So that's awful fun. I think I'm gonna end up giving this one to my daughter to video my granddaughter with,
now,
because it wouldn't matter to her. She's not using it for a 360, right?
what exactly do these 360 cameras do, for Christ's sake?
So it's a camera.
Apart from the obvious.
It's a camera on the front and a camera on the back, and each of them take more than 180 degrees, and the software
Ah,
stitches it together. So
I see.
you pull it into like a program like DAZ, and it gives you the lighting from the photograph. So you go
To
into,
match.
yeah, ostensibly you can go and take a photograph of the place that you're making your movie or whatever. Pull that
Yeah.
HDR in. If you're going to make a
Yeah.
animated element to go in your live action, the lighting will match perfectly. So
Oh,
that's the power of it, and of course it works for renders as well. But yeah, I'm actually working on a little golf. Well, heck, I can show you guys. Hang on a second here. So let me switch over to my screen, minimize that, close that. Yeah, so this is where I've taken the 360 stitch, and um, you can sort of see, pull it
in fact,
into
yeah, I was
Photoshop.
watching one of you. Yeah, there was one of your pictures, wasn't it, 360 on your Facebook?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
did look at them. Yeah, I did.
Facebook supports that natively, so that's cool. You can, if you have an HDR, you can actually Now this has been
I think,
around for years. You can actually go to Facebook, just upload it, and it'll natively play in the browser as a 360 image,
yeah,
and that's like super powerful
isn't it?
because
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I should
Yeah.
give. I actually have a Theta S. I should just send you that because I don't use it now that I have a newer one.
Okay.
I should just give you that, and you can go take your own HDRs. Yeah, I went up and visited Les in his hometown. That was quite the experience. I've been working with him since 2003,
Was
and
that Les was with you?
yeah.
Yeah, that was that's what you had it on the
The
360, wasn't it?
the stuff with the rock. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Brilliant shots. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was that. He and I literally he undersold how hard it was to get to this place. I had to belly crawl up the side of a mountain, a cold belly crawl because it was chilly. And
Yeah.
this is in Moorhead, Kentucky, to a place called Lakiji Rock, and we ended up producing a 360 environment from that, and we may end up
Oh, right.
actually taking that further and having him model some of that stuff out. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of projects with him, and actually
Yeah.
I manage his Renderosity sales now. Um,
Do you?
yeah, I sure do. I pretty much anything to do with his Renderosity store, I manage that, and then I also help with his social media and YouTube stuff as well, but primarily I do the Renderosity store. He's kind of taking a step away from Renderosity a little bit, but of course, he has a huge legacy there and a huge amount of product there. So yeah, he talked me into doing that for him.
Yeah, good.
So yeah, it's been good, man. Um, just staying busy. I'm just starting to feel like a human being again, not having to travel so much for school. And I think after we graduate next Saturday, I'm going to go back. If I'm doing a little video shoot in exchange for my office hours, so I don't have to sit around and answer a phone so much. Thank God.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she's asked for like one more shot or something, so I'm going to go next Tuesday, and that'll be my last trip apart from going back for the graduation next Saturday, which is we're playing and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Excellent.
it's a good time. I do not encourage people to go back to school at 49. I'm going to put that on the record because I find that my
Um,
tolerance for bullshit is way lower than it used to be, and
uh,
anything with involving a bunch of women. I mean, I love women, but when you get a bunch of them in a room and you think that shit ain't gonna be dramatic, you are fooling yourself. You're like you're like freaking sticks, fooling yourself if you don't believe it. You're killing yourself if you don't believe it. With apologies to Tommy Shaw.
yeah.
Speaking of Styx, their latest album, Mission to Mars. Oh my gosh, have you heard me talk about this album yet?
I don't
It
think so.
is a concept album about the colonization of Mars, as told via rock and roll. You have to
Yeah.
go check that out if you have iTunes or any of those. Mission to Mars by Styx. It's their first album in 14 years. It's probably like a year and a half old right now.
Yeah.
What, honey? Okay. Talking to the boss. Sorry.
All right.
My wife just stepped in, as she is wont to do. There's other
Hmm.
news. I'm going to be getting a new studio space. I can't say a whole lot about it right now.
Okay.
I'll tell you more when we turn the stream off. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to be having a probably like a setup where I can just like do things like this, but the cameras and the lights will all be set, and nobody will be placing stuff all over my desk, as is the case in my current location.
Right. Like fish and chips.
Yeah, and among other things, yeah, among other things like boxes and packaging and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been quite the journey. I mean, I'm pretty much a crackerjack massage therapist now. I mean, I've done like 100 and probably 60, therapy sessions, so you get kind of good at it, and it's kind of amazing.
Um.
It's kind of amazing what that can do for you in your health too.
Yeah. Yeah. The does that mean that you be using that as a business
Well, yeah, we already
in the
have
future?
we already have a spa in our current business, and this will just be kind of like an add-in
All
eventually,
right. Yeah.
because we've had a lot of requests for it basically, and that's why we decided. Well, that's what
Oh, yeah.
got her to think. 'Cause she's already an esthetician, so um, there's like elements of massage are in that, but when you can actually do like the full thing, we're going to be focused on medical massage. I think pretty much fixing people that have like
Like
legitimate issue.
therapy type of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it can really,
So
really, it can really, really help you.
a
Um,
friend of mine who had a bad back. Oh, he had a car accident, shunted up the back end, and he was For years, he had a terrible back. His back was terrible. Went to a therapist, and he said he couldn't believe it.
I mean,
Gone,
if
fixed.
I've worked on people that are in like jobs, the craziest one. I mean, I've had people that had like serious things wrong with them, and it always helps. But like a guy came in, he was probably like 48, 50, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Fireman,
yeah,
never had a massage. Now think about it. All day long, these guys like swing axes and carry heavy rope, climb up stuff, so their muscles are like getting overused, legit.
yes,
And
yes.
he couldn't believe it. We did deep tissue. He couldn't believe like the relief that he had just immediately, and
Oh,
it was incredible, you know. And I'm like, you know,
yeah.
you could have went through your whole life feeling having all these aches and pains that you didn't have to have, and you know,
Some,
it's different than chiropractic. You know, it's like it's
yeah,
more of a maintenance thing to just generally
yeah,
make you healthier. And
yeah,
you release all this toxin when you have deep tissue massage. It's pretty incredible, really. I never got them much either. Of course now I do, but
yeah,
yeah, I was never kind of hip to it, as they say.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah, if you mean completely disinteresting to people who don't do it, yeah, it's interesting. If that's what you mean by interesting, yeah,
No,
it is super super interesting.
it's so interesting. I was awake then for 30 seconds.
I could literally feel you slipping away. You know? I was like, oh no, that's not
No,
good.
not at all. Not
Nah,
at all.
it's
I'm
all good.
enjoying the call, actually.
Yeah, that's
I've
cool.
spoken
Well,
to you for a
it's really
while.
good to hear from you, man. It's like we go about like 2 and 3 years of time without talking.
And yet it doesn't feel like that, does it?
Man, how old are you now, Dave?
I am now 75.
God bless you. I
Yeah.
am going to be 50 years old this year. Can you believe that?
God, no. You were only a kid
50,
when I first met you.
50 years old, man.
50 years old. Oh,
75,
my.
75 doesn't seem old to me anymore. It used to seem ancient. I remember this. And
Yeah.
now
Ex-
it's like 75. That's nothing, man, you know. That's nothing.
yeah.
Yeah, well,
The only, yeah. The only thing is when you get round to 75, you don't get that inspired for ideas very often.
does your bullshit tolerance increase or decrease at that age?
Decrease.
I kind of felt that in my
Yeah.
bones. I kind of felt
It,
that in my bones that that was a distinct
well,
possibility.
I think the simplest way to say it is we look at my age anyway and look back and I see what's going on currently in politics or whatever you
Whew.
want to call it. I
Yeah,
am absolutely appalled
yeah, that's a good
with,
word. Appalled.
yeah, I am appalled at what's going on. And that covers most things.
I'm appalled.
Appalled! Make a movie of that one.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Margaret Thatcher's not starting to not look so bad after all,
Uh,
huh?
I loved Maggie Thatcher.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
She was,
I watch a lot of BBC, right? Like, just because they make some cop shows that I tend to, they're
yeah,
super formulaic, but I'm not like I'm simple. It doesn't take a lot to entertain me. Basically, what is it? What do they call them? A DI or a PI or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Or DI this, DI that, and there's usually a
yeah,
woman. This is the typical British scenario. There's usually a woman that will
yeah,
come into a job where she's over some men, and there'll be a little
yeah,
bit of friction about it, and you know,
yeah.
next thing you know, they're like she's
Running,
having sex with the most unlikely of her
yeah,
coworkers, and then
yeah,
they'll solve a crime together, and then at the end it'll turn out to be that guy or he'll be complicit in some way. My God,
exactly.
that broad church, I call it the broad church format.
Yeah.
Have you seen Broadchurch?
Not really, no.
It's
Not one of,
it's actually one of the better ones because it's set where those really cool cliffs are. The town is, but
uh,
it's uber predictable, and I watch it. I watch it the same way I watch a mechanic show. I don't work
yeah,
on cars. I don't even change my own oil, dude. But I love watching those shows where they build engines and stuff from scratch. I'm like, wow, this is
yeah,
like fascinating to me, and I kind of feel
yeah,
like a dog with his head out the window. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah, yeah.
I shouldn't be as entertained by this as I am, but
No.
I can't deny that I'm entertained by it. You know, and
Oh, good
um,
for you.
but yeah, I do like some of that stuff. But you know, some of the politics kind of seeps in,
Oh,
and I'm like, we're all just getting closer and closer to Sweden, dude. We're all just. I mean, I don't want to be.
well,
I got plenty of foreign friends. I got plenty of Muslim friends, but like,
no, no.
we gotta be careful. We gotta be careful.
We, yeah. We do.
I feel like some countries have already like irreparably damaged their standard of living
Yeah,
just by bad judgment in this whole outraged society. You know.
yeah. Well, I think this country, as far as bad judgment goes, it's I think the top of the list in the
I don't
UK.
know. I don't know, man. I don't know, because I would posit that perhaps we're at the top of that list, but you know,
Hey,
you
I'll
guys.
tell you what. I'll tell you what. We've got, in my mind, very similar bosses. Trump and our guy, Boris. And I tell you what, they're so bloody similar, and everybody hates them. The politics, all they're doing is trying to kill each other.
I think that what it is neither of those guys give a what we
Shit.
call an F here.
Yeah.
There's zero F's given, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes,
And the
absolutely.
people that are part of the outrage culture just can't stand that. Well,
No.
how dare he tweet at a person at an
Yes.
individual? Well, who gives a shit? He can tweet all he wants. Dude, honestly, I have never looked at his Twitter, man. But there are
No.
people losing their minds over shit that
I
Trump
know.
tweets. I'm like,
I know.
who cares?
Yeah.
I don't even, and on a personal note, I don't have to like the guy to
No.
think he's doing an okay job. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, all I know is I can, and I voted for former President Obama,
Yeah.
for the record. And the first 4 years, I thought he was a great guy. The second 4 years, I went, boy, he screwed me the last 4 years. What's
No, no.
going on? You know, I mean, as a small business owner, and I used to have
Yeah.
great health care. Now I can't. My last surgical procedure cost me $18,000 out of pocket. Thank you, former President Obama,
Oh, God.
for your so-called Affordable Health Care Act, ensuring that people that actually work for a living cannot afford health care. If that's what you meant, then yeah, you can call it the Affordable Health Care Act, because
Absolutely.
that's what it
Yeah.
is. And so, I don't think Trump is the greatest thing since sliced bread, but I certainly think he does not give a shit about. He's going to do what he thinks is right for America, and
Yeah.
I can get behind that. I can get
Yeah.
behind that for sure. You know,
And the
so.
same with our Boris over here. You know, he's a character,
That's funny.
but but he's a tough one. You know,
He's a what now?
a tough one.
A toughen.
Tough.
I think
Yeah, he's a tough.
you out slang me there. Is that Liverpudlian? What does that mean?
Oh, God knows, he's just tough.
Tough,
He's
tough in.
tough.
I got you.
Yeah,
I
he's
got you.
tough. He's a
Yeah,
tough one.
yeah. Well, I mean, if you're talking about like being hard nosed on issues, Trump's tough
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
I think he looks sort of like a strong wind could blow him away, but
Well,
he's tougher than
when
he
you,
looks.
yeah, well, as you were saying before, these so-called politicians, etc., they're so wimpy. I mean, there's not one would stand up and take anybody on in case they offend this and offend that.
I don't want
I
to be
mean,
offended. Well, you guys have the same issue that we do in that
we
like
same. It's terrible.
other countries expect us to pay a disproportionate amount of like world expense and taking care of various
Yeah,
countries that don't have health care. I'm
yeah.
like, hey, that's cool. We're all about like being, but I mean, he told the UN make all countries pay. That's it. If you want to be in
That's
the
right.
UN, you want to take the the benefits of it, then you have to
Yeah,
contribute. And if you can't
yeah.
contribute, sorry, you don't qualify for the UN.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with
And
that.
that's just. No, I agree. I totally agree. I mean, I am so fed up listening to all these smarmy. Well, anyway, I won't go
Bastards,
any.
smarmy bastards. We said we were going to make it
Exactly.
political, and I totally did. But it's okay. I'm pretending anybody listens to these. Nobody does. I have one guy religiously, Reggie Hicks, joins us on Fridays. So we do the 6S1 streams at 2 o'clock on Fridays. I'll do mine anytime because I just do these little working sections. But it's funny.
Yeah.
A lot of the places I try to post this will at random say it's against their policy, depending on how you like label it. I just put working session to keep it simple, just so they can know I'm working in Dad's studio and whatnot. If somebody wants to watch or get on the chat, that's cool.
Right.
Occasionally folks will, but nothing big. And it really is just for me to keep me honest about how much time I spend working, since I'm trying to like be a top producer. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it's all good.
Yeah,
But
it's just,
I can't talk you into completely switching over to Das Studio.
no, not at all. To be honest with you, actually, when I'm going back, like I say, I'm back with PoSer for a while, and I'm finding I've forgotten quite a few bits and pieces with PoSer.
Well, let me know if you need
Reminders.
any voiceovers with a hick accent. Hey, I'm sharing my screen with you now, by the way. I'm gonna
Oh yeah.
switch over here and show what I've been working on while we've been talking here. But yeah, let me know if you can see, when you can see my screen.
Okay. One second.
You kind of have to move around your chat window a little bit, probably.
Is this the three? Whoa.
It's in Skype, so I'm like you should see like
Yeah.
you see me?
Oh yes. Can't
S-
see you yet. Hang on.
No, no, yeah, I don't really have my I don't have my camera on, but this is the image that I took just the other day and
That's gorgeous. Where's this?
just processed it into a it's just a HDR photo that I took with this Insta360 camera and processed it
Oh right.
into an
Yeah.
HDR. It takes like 3 or 4 images depending on the lighting conditions at various exposure, and it combines those into a dot radiance file, right? Which is
Yeah.
what an HDR is.
Yeah. And I
And
used to do some HDR with my camera.
oh yeah, I
Use Lightroom for it, and we used to, yeah, it's as you say, take 3, 4, 5 images, slightly different exposures,
yeah,
and mix them,
yeah.
and you get some fantastic effects. But I haven't done that for years.
Well, it's now very simple to do with the right
Yeah, I'm sure
camera.
it is. Yeah.
Let's see, I'm just saving my little preset for this, um, and they're just like they're lightweight. They're nothing to load, So you
Yeah.
can throw a character in. I'll throw one of my characters in. I just man, I wish you could have made the graduation to Dad Studio because I could have just given you so many cool files, man.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
That's the bummer of it, but
Well, as we say, it's not a perfect world.
no, it's not a perfect world at all.
Not a, no, it's not a perfect world at all.
But it's the only one we got, so we got to make the
That's
best. We
true.
got to make the best of it.
That's true.
You been catching any films lately?
Oh.
I know you've
So,
been.
eh?
I know you want to go.
No.
I know you want to go see the new Rambo film.
Oh God, yeah, I'm queuing up for that one.
It was awesome.
The
If
Is it good?
if Jason Voorhees were a heroic character, that's what Rambo would have been like. At one point, I thought it's almost like they were trying to trigger the snowflakes. Like he killed no white people, he only killed brown people, so that was an issue. All Mexican people. And at one point, this bad Mexican girl had like basically sold his niece into slavery, and he knew it. And
Yeah.
he slams his knife into the table. She's scared. She's like a hard-nosed kind of gangster chick. Slams the knife into the table. And she's like, "Yo, man, I don't know what happened. I got drunk and blah blah blah." And he goes, "This is exactly what he says." He goes, "You're gonna tell me where that place is, and you're gonna show me that guy that took her. Or I'm gonna hurt you real bad." And for a second, I thought he was going to torture her. I really did. I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
my God, they're going to just have people hanging themselves in the hallways." It was awesome, but it turns out
Yeah.
he didn't have to torture her basically, and it was he slammed his knife in the table. I was like, "No, they're not going to do this." But
Yeah.
he butchered some bad guys in that one. Woo! It was
Yeah.
amazing.
I've been mostly watching the series actually, and I find them very entertaining.
Um. The,
Multitude of them. I mean, oh,
oh yeah.
I for-
What have you been watching?
well, what was it? What were we watching? Uh, God.
Do you guys see American programming on your regular TV over there?
No, I use kind of. We have to use these plug-in things, to like Kodi and stuff
Oh, I got you.
to, to get them over here. Um, but like, I can't remember there's that many we've watched, but they're all incredible. I've thoroughly enjoyed watching them. Maybe we've watched some of the maybe 7 series
Huh?
going right through. Yeah, yeah.
What
Yeah,
are
it's
what?
good.
Give me the name of some of the things we may have watched some stuff in common.
Uh, let's see. The animals. What was it? Animal Kingdom was one.
Animal Kingdom. Okay.
Yeah, that was one of them. God. So another thing about 75 is about your memory.
I'll tell you the big thing that's really gotten me this year.
Well,
So like I've gotten where I'm real short-sighted. Like I can see as good as I've ever at 5 feet. I can see as good as I've ever seen, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
like from like my nose to the end of my fingertips, my vision has
yeah,
fallen off so bad. I have to hold
uh,
things far away and get them
yeah.
perfectly lit to be able to read them, and that is weird to me.
I know,
That
I
is
know.
very weird. How does
How
that get
about
does that get any better?
No,
Uh-oh.
it
Bifocal
just
t
gets worse.
bi
No, no, no.
bifocal
What you'll
time.
find is you go to the optician and you'll get one set of glasses, and then 2 years later, they'll be like bottle ends. They'll be that
Oh
thick.
my word. Are you seeing this little scene that I'm doing on my desktop right now?
No, I don't think so.
I've shared my screen with you. Um,
Yeah, I've got your screen there.
um,
It's got my page at the back.
no, you must be looking at the wrong thing. Um, so let me double check that I'm shared.
Okay.
Yeah, switch screen or window. Try to so yeah, I've shared my my working window. You should be seeing my working window, which is Daz Studio. You see that?
Now you see the dance studio in the center.
Okay, so this character here, I don't know if you recognize him, but that's the character from Respawner, and I based it on my friend that played this character, and I did all that in FaceGen like last week.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that kind of looks like him, you know. And now I set that to HDR up that I just created, and I'm trying to get the right level of intensity so it's not too bright, but it's bright enough, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so this is looking pretty good. About ready to render that at some point when I walk away. But anyway, HDRs, man, those are the trip. So when can I expect to see the next installment of Creech?
Well, God knows. It depends on whether I can get into it or not. I'm
Right.
actually, because I've been doing nothing recently, I'm sort of forcing myself into doing it.
Now,
And
did you get the latest greatest version on Render
yeah,
Rusty? How,
yeah,
how how much of an
11
upgrade was
point
that? How much was an upgrade was that for you?
nothing.
Oh, really? It's free. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
I'm gonna
Just a
wait.
straight upgrade.
Okay, cool. And it changed the branding and all that to Render Rusty, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
tell him to drive around back, Summer, and meet me back here. Well, that's it, my good friend. You should start trying to. I know. Let's see. What time? 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
What time is that for you? Is that like balls early in the morning or what?
What time have you got now?
So right now it's 11, but like normally in
Well, that's
about
4 o'clock. That's 4 o'clock here
in the afternoon.
in the afternoon.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Tell him I'll pick him up there. I'm coming. On Fridays at my time, 2 p.m., we always do a live stream. If you ever want to jump on there, and it's for 6S1, but I mean it'd be me and Les. You should jump on sometime for that because you're
okay.
you're awesome for we all think alike, and you're
Yeah.
awesome for comedy relief, man.
Okay, mate.
love your accent. Always sounds like I'm
Okay.
talking to Sir Paul McCartney.
I, I bet.
It's great talking to
Okay.
you. It's great talking to you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Brent.
All
See
right.
you.
Bye.
Bye.